After being underwhelmed by season 3 of Ben 10 Omniverse, I'm spinning the block, heading to season 4 due to my sheer love of the franchise. Well, something like that. For some added fun, we're gonna rank every episode in the season from worst to best. I'm hoping for an improvement from season 3 because it had moments of greatness, but it was on and off. Can I get 100 likes? Subscribe? Thanks. I may have accidentally watched the show out of order, so let's make a pit stop to an interesting crossover. You remember Secret Saturdays? I don't, and I just didn't care enough to look up any facts about the series. I know it got canceled and there's like 4 people, mom, dad, son, and pet. Together they combat evil, but only on the weekends or something. I don't know, suck my dick. Didn't really like this episode. I think I'd enjoy it way more if I actually watched the bum show. All 20 minutes rely on you having some sort of background knowledge on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Had me feeling like,
don't worry, big guy. I'm not getting any of this either.
It's not giving that Jimmy Timmy Power Hour feel, that Heroes United feel. However, the first fight against Collage Man was wicked. They was most definitely getting busy. And Ben trying to rizz up Zach's mom was admittedly pretty funny. The story concludes when Mashup Boy gets sucked dry, I want to be him so bad, as well as little gems like Ben putting Animo in B tier and heartbreaking moments like Rook getting ranked 3rd in terms of Ben's partners. Yo, I'd like to start this episode with a pause! Ben getting his body invaded by men. Resume. Ben gotta once again try and form peace between 2 groups of people similar to the premise of Simple, which I talked about in my last Ben 10 video, except this time it's Wrath and people who look like the Pillsbury guys from last time.
Oh yeah.
Remember the people who were invading Ben's organs? Well, Rook has to save him from them because they're actually the most evil of them all and aren't ignorantly drilling a man. Rook, as Ben's 3rd best partner, completes the task of saving the lives of everyone in the room, followed up with Ben as Wrath hitting the Pillsbury Trader with some wrestling moves to vanquish him.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
Then sent Cuz to jail to get his cheeks taken. Now, even though Ben didn't blow up, the episode was a certified banger and way better than the previous one. W's story with some good jokes, and no, Wrath being naked at all times isn't one of them. It's just weird and got me looking at Azimuth like he a freak. Dude, forearms got closed, gray matter got closed, but Wrath just naked. That's kinky! Hey, they brought back Albedo. He's in my top 3 for villains.
Hello, partner.
Hey, they brought back Festina. I love her. Each episode, this show's leveling up. Ben and Albedo get swapped in brilliant fashion because Albedo's trying to get back to his OG form like usual. I knew it was strange Ben's color palette was different in the beginning, as well as his verbiage. Not sure why that wasn't more quickly noticed by anyone, but whatever. The explanation they gave was pretty good, so I'm not finna nitpick. For that long, Albedo and Ben having a competitive matchup towards the end was just trash, especially since Albedo upgraded the Omnitrix a minute prior and was constantly swapping transformations. It makes the new Ultimatrix look weak immediately. Speaking of transforming, Albedo turning into Ultimate Humongousaur was Thanos snap quick. It wasn't visually impressive, it wasn't that cool, it's weak sauce.
Do not enter that sauce in the county fair because it is weak.
I still love this episode. It was great to see Kraven the Hunter come back. I'm very excited to see what the supervillain team up look like in the future. Most inconsistent piece of show. Why? Why must we go from Albedo and Kraven to the Burrito Brothers? Once again, I have to state, I don't remember much of Alien Force and Ultimate Alien, but like, do people like these two for real? Now they have a mother of some sort, making me realize that family just weakened you, except mine, something to my brother real quick. Anyways, the Burritos kidnap their brother that Rook and Ben have to find now, while Ben tries to avoid his own mom because her cooking sucks. Can't relate. Unfortunately, this was a goodie. I found a strange sense of enjoyment from watching this. Far from complex, but it was cute how it's really just Ma Burrito freaking out over her missing kid. Then the little stuff with Ben's mom paying off in the end, in having her save Ben just by popping off. I can't not appreciate it. If I could change anything, I would have just put this before the Albedo episode. Now let's move on. Max's monster is interesting. First things first, shout out to the flashback scene because I didn't remember who Phil was, but now that I do, I'm invested. He's been corrupted and driven loopy by the Nemetrix. As a result, Ben doesn't trust him and he ends up being right, so shout out to trust issues, I guess. Phil sucks. Energy. But he's also the ops, so I'm not changing my statement. It also turns out he's the reason the Omnitrix keeps randomizing Ben's aliens, a consistent occurrence throughout the episode, which I'm glad is mentioned because my hater energy was rising. Genius justification though. Phil goes on a rampage sucking everything in sight, not getting any stronger doing so. Literally, he just weak the whole time unless I'm missing something. Ben mollywops him, so Phil, like the scum he is, pleads for his life, but ain't nobody trying to hear all that, so into the no void he goes. I'll admit, it's sad seeing him do this, even sadder seeing how it hurt Grandpa Maximum. That one emotional beat carried the episode for me. With Phil's return, I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume Kraven, Psychobos, and Albedo return at the season's end, this is merely a precursor? If so, they cooked! Although I feel like this was very bare bones, I can't help but just mess with this episode. Maybe I'm just in a Ben 10 mood, I don't know. I already watched Evil's Encore, so if you want to see me talk about it, go watch the last Omniverse video. Knowing Wrath is naked will forever change my mind about this character. Anyhow, the Forever Knights are back, Jimmy's back, Neutron's not here, but this Jimmy's voiced by Robin. He's discovered the Forever Knights are back, which isn't that hard to do. This gotta be the 8th time they've returned. I'm tired. They join forces with Will Harang because he needs to up his rating. Will isn't keen to the fact that the Knights are planning to murk all the aliens on Earth. For no reason, Ben and Rook allow themselves to get captured and get saved by Jimmy, then engage in combat with the Knights, except they've got an item that turns Ben back to normal. How will they... What was I talking about again? Jimmy concusses Forever Knight's head honcho, but wait, the alien curse splatter is about to go off. Will Ben get the right alien so he can save everyone? Most importantly, our hero Rook? No. What show have you been watching? This ain't Ben Gets the Right Alien show. This is the Creativity Kit. Slam the watch and hope you can freestyle your way to victory. And Ben does, somehow. A lot of returns in the season. Cousin Lucy's back, but so is Gwen and Kevin, which takes precedence. The plumbers have a mole among them stealing weapons, giving them to their nemesi? Whatever, since Lucy just reappeared, her parents or relatives were evil, and Gwen loathed her soul, we gotta assume it's her. And before finishing the episode, I'm gonna say it's not, she's just annoying. Siphon ends up being who these weapons are being sold to for a high price. Get your money up, currently unknown king or queen. Aforementioned king or queen's Gorvin, a man I know only for existing in the Ben 10 Alien Force game. Dope reference.
Please.
Psych.
Lucy actually got me. I literally yelled in my room, Vilgax is back! Before catching on. Siphon gets speared wrapping up the story. See, here's what I don't like. Lucy's laugh. It bothered me. Nothing's that funny, okay? You're not Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, or smacked up comedian. Cease the nonsense. Also, the idea of a traitor could have been stretched out over another season. I'm trying to have some more war on my shows. Naruto did it once. Now I feel like no show is good without it. Putting this over Max's Monster, but under Return to Forever. Jubilant. The word that describes how I felt after getting a Kevin 11 flashback. Follow that up with a Rook and Kevin adventure. You officially got me bricked. Instead of flashback, Kevin and Archer are left to rot in the null void by Plankton's computer before the sex change. Automotives also connects to mud is thicker than water perfectly. In that episode, you hear Rook make the exact same phone call to Ben when he gets into some hot water with Otto's group on planet Koros. I'm mentioning this because it's hours away from Earth where Ben is, raising the stakes of this episode. Rook and Kevin have to stop Otto from robbing Gar, the Tetraman leader. They succeed, but Otto rob him again because they failed purposely the first time. We get a little car chase, Otto absorbs all the other cars, becomes a giant monster, and Ben arrives in the nick of time. That's when I knew this is my second favorite episode of the season. I adored everything it had to offer. Not a mech fan, but seeing Ben and Otto scrap like this was a Power Ranger Zord fight was pretty cool. I wish we got more dialogue exchanges between Rook and Kevin. They're wonderful together. Not just that, Arjun and Kevin should have talked to Otto more. There wasn't enough with the three of them to give me a genuine emotional feeling watching. Back to Kevin and Rook though. The writers put them in an environment they both enjoy. It makes sense from a narrative perspective and enhances the quality of the episode. When I say the writers popped off, I really mean it. Kudos. Wow! Who would have thunk it? Albedo's tricked Ben and Rook to fall into separate traps. One leaves Ben on a planet full of his predators.
Should have a seat over in that chair, please.
And Kyber. The other sends Rook accompanied by Grandpa Max on a wild moose chase to find where Ben is in the first place.
Let me guess. You hunt me, and if I survive until sundown or whatever, you let me go.
I'm 90% sure that's a reference to the most dangerous game. Sorry, just had to say that because it makes me feel smart. Both groups struggle immensely. Every slight lead or victory ends up being another setup. Our heroes are just on the back burner the entire time. To the point I thought a W could only be secured with an Alien X transformation. 2 minutes left is when I'm thinking, okay, the team's got this. And that's when it's revealed Azimuth got kidnapped, which is why he didn't respond when Maximum called him earlier. New #1 episode. I love this season. It's also a two-parter. Azimuth gets his brain taken. Now he's a short bus kid that must be babysat. Albedo and Craven are hunting for some brain when they're briefly stopped by Kevin and Gwen. Both teams fight over it until Albedo wins perspective. Cause gaining Azimuth's intellects makes him realize life is meaningless, which is stupid because he could have asked any 14-year-old and they'd have told him the same thing. This lapse in focus allows Ben to debut his new alien, apparently his second strongest, Atomics, who just bodies Albedo. Azimuth gets his brain back, then turns Albedo into a child, which gotta be cruel and a usual punishment. Why is Azimuth allowed to just treat him like this? He's no judge, but apparently he's the jury and executioner. Azimuth kind of bullying this guy who just wants to be normal, like, get a grip. Yeah, he's crazy, but it's not even his fault at this point completely. Now here's my ranking for all the episodes this season. Taking everything into account, I'd say this was a great season. It was so well written I couldn't nitpick anything because the writers thought of a way around it. It didn't have any moments that made me feel how I did watching season 2, but it was by far one of the more consistent ones. I'd say the second best season of the show. I wonder how I'll feel about season 5.